All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Bob Arum claims that Deontay Wilder's manager, Shelly Finkel, must be illiterate because he didn't read the contract. Um, let's talk about what Bob Arum had to say about the fact that Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury's fight is supposed to be canceled, despite the fact that Deontay Wilder's team is saying that it's not. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back. So, first things first. Okay, Deontay Wilder's team is not illiterate. Okay, I'm quite sure they read that contract. I'm quite sure that they read that contract multiple times. But Bob Arum is claiming that they didn't, and that the plain meaning of the words in the contract tell you that this contract is now expired. It's over. Tyson Fury has no obligation to Deontay Wilder, and he can move on with his business. Right now, first things first. Bob Arum's full of it, and let me tell you why. Bob Arum is full of it. Bob Arum said that his lawyer told him that it's expired, that the contract is expired based on the plain reading. Correct? Bob Arum also said that another UK lawyer told him that the contract expired because of the plain meaning of the rule, of the language, right? What does plain meaning mean? In a statute, because this is about interpretation by a court of either a statute or a contract. So when they are reading it, they say, hey, if a term is unambiguous, right? It's not confusing. There's not one way you can interpret it this way and the other way that you can interpret it that way. If that's not the case, right? And usually that's the case when terms are not defined. When terms are defined, when you say the expiration date is X, that is clearly defined, right? We don't know if it's clearly defined. Guess why? The most important thing about the interpretation of the plain language or plain meaning rule is that the interpretation is made by a judge. Not real hard to figure that one out. We will know whether or not that contract expires or not if one of two things happen. One, Tyson Fury fights and Deontay Wilder doesn't say anything. That's one. Okay, then we'll know it's over because Deontay Wilder didn't say anything. Tyson Fury went and had another fight. Deontay Wilder never went to court. He never said anything. Hey, man, that's it. He never objected. Wash your hands of it and move forward. That's at least what I think could happen, right? The other thing is that and at least that's the way you'll know that, hey, Tyson Fury does get to fight because he fought. Another way that you'll find out is that the day that Tyson Fury announces his fight, if the morning after that day you hear that Deontay Wilder filed a lawsuit, and then after it goes through that lawsuit, then you'll know whether or not that contract is expired or not. Now, you might find it quickly because Tyson Fury, I'm sure, would file in the United States for a declaratory judgment. Let me know right now, what is my contractual status here in this? Is this good or is it not good? And then if the court allows a summary judgment, right, then he would either be bound or he would not be bound. That is now again, I'm not a litigator, right? I write contracts. So I am not a litigator though. So as far as how that process would go in the UK, I have no idea. I'm not in the UK. That's why Bob Arum pointed to the UK attorney and a US attorney, because Tyson Fury is a citizen of the UK. Queensberry Promotions is, I'm sure, incorporated or whatever they do over there in the UK. And that is what you call a conflict of law interest. A conflict of law issue, not interest. Conflict of law issue. Because what does UK law say? What does US law say? What does U.S. statutory law say? What does U.S. common law say? What does U.K. common law say? Well, U.K. common law and U.S. common law is pretty much the same thing because U.S. law was founded on U.S. common law. But you get my point. There's a whole procedure to go through. And then we'll know. Just announcing that, hey, I don't care about this agreement. We're moving on to do what we're going to do. Dude, that doesn't cut it. Now, it doesn't cut it for me. It might cut it for the press, but it doesn't cut it for me. We will know whether or not Tyson Fury is free and clear to fight somebody else when he's actually fighting somebody else, or after, or if he announces it, or shortly before he announces it, or at any point in time that Deontay Wilder and his team believe that Tyson Fury is serious about not making the fight. Then you will find out when they get dragged to court. And then that fight in December 5th more than likely is not going to happen because he's going to be in court. But we will see. I don't know. However, and let me tell you why I don't know, because I haven't seen the contract. And no, neither has anybody else, right? And also, that's just what it is. But let me tell you what I know for sure, because it is important to talk about what we do know. I don't care if the fight happens. Tyson Fury's a scumbag. Bob Arum's a scumbag. And both of those guys need to go because they are both highly unethical and highly untrustworthy. And right now, we have a very big problem in the sport of boxing in that nobody trusts it. Nobody trusts the sport of boxing. Boxing fans don't trust the sport of boxing. Every other fight, boxing fans are up in arms screaming about a robbery because, is it the referees? The referees must have been paid for. The referees, right? Isn't that what you hear out of Teddy Atlas every other day? Right? Every other thing you got to say is something about that. Not that that's not a valid issue, but that's what everybody says. There's no contingent of boxing that trusts boxing. And one of the main reasons why people don't trust boxing is Bob Arum, because he's the most untrustworthy person in all of boxing. He's constantly telling you one thing and doing something else consistently. And the reason why he's allowed to do it is because of the critical mass that his company has reached. Because of the brand of Top Rank has been associated with so many champions over so long, and for some reason, Bob Arum escaped all of the mud that was thrown at Don King consistently through the 80s and the 90s, right? Even though Bob Arum was been every bit as crooked and more crooked than Don King has. Don King, I don't know, but I don't believe Don King has ever had to admit to bribing an IBF official. Bob Arum has admitted to bribing the president of IBF in order to get people ranked. Dude, he's just a scumbag, and you shouldn't expect him to keep his promises. So, should Deontay Wilder have been prepared for this? Absolutely. When Tyson Fury and Bob Arum, they would say this about Don King, right? It's like you sign the contract, then the negotiation begins, right? With Don King. But what is this? You sign a piece of paper and it means nothing to Bob Arum. And let me tell you why it means nothing to Bob Arum. Because Bob Arum is because I don't think this is Bob Arum, though. I think this is Tyson Fury. Because Bob Arum is still keeping this off of himself, right? Because Bob Arum is a lawyer. Bob Arum could say, no, this is my understanding of it. This. Right? But I mean, he hasn't practiced in 60 years, so that's not I'm sure it's not the same thing, but you get my point. Look, is this fight going to happen with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder? I don't know. A week ago, I was like, Tyson Fury, I was just waiting to see what would happen when maybe Tyson Fury was on a binge or something, and, something's going on. Maybe he's trying to get in Deontay Wilder's head to prevent Deontay Wilder from training. He's out here trying to hire Mark Breland, right? Then all of a sudden he didn't hire Mark Breland. It's just a bunch of nonsense going on with Tyson Fury. And it's good. Honestly, man, like UK boxing just has such a bad taste in my mouth right now, man. But I can't blame this on UK boxing because Bob Arum it's boxing. What can I say? This is just not the type of sport where you can expect when the NFL says, hey, man, the Super Bowl is going to be January 26th, right? And we know who the teams are going to be. The teams are going to be the people that come out of the East, with the NFC, and the people that come out of the AFC. Hey, man, if you win the NFC, you're going to be in the Super Bowl. Hey, if you win the AFC, you're going to be in the Super Bowl. Hey, Mr. Basketball Team, if you win the Eastern Conference Final, you're going to be in the championship. Hey, if you win the Western Conference Final, you're going to be in the championship. We know that to be the case. With boxing, with people like Bob Arum, you could be going through a whole tournament, right? An eliminator tournament like the WBC, where when they had that eliminator tournament for 140 pounds, right, where all these people were in, right? Regis Prograis gets to the semifinals. Jose Ramirez gets to the semifinals, and then Bob Arum right in the semifinals, right? Where it was supposed to match up. Bob Arum says, no, thank you. We just want to fight for the WBC belt. We're going to pull out of this ad hoc tournament, and I want you, and we're taking the belt with us. Sorry, Regis. I know we made a promise, but hey, yesterday was lying. Today I'm telling the truth. That's Bob Arum. That's Tyson Fury, and that's just a huge problem in boxing. That's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think. And with that, I'm out. Peace.